Hey guys, we're live for another week. It was great to see you guys last week in, I don't know, where were we?
Nashville. We didn't get to see much of Nashville though. We were in a nerdy
Yeah.
room full of cybersecurity people.
It was just
And-
it was just another hotel. People like, you're going away again. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to this place. I was like, yeah, we saw the hotel.
Yep. A
Well,
lot
you
of the
did see a
hotel.
concert. But you did see a concert on the last night, or heard a concert from the roof.
That was actually pretty cool.
I didn't see anything. I was in bed. I'm lame. I'm an old adult who goes to bed early.
Yeah, I got to see AC/DC from the roof. Really
I heard. Well, I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it. It's hard not
Sounded
to.
That was pretty far away from downtown. I wasn't there that night, but I'm really surprised you
Yeah.
heard it.
Oh, it was honestly loud and clear. I mean, as soon as Hell's Bells came on, I could tell what that was before I walked outside. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
A little
Well,
loud.
And then between that and sitting in a room where we got to hear lawyers speak, insurance speak, everything about lawsuits.
Yeah, it was eye-opening.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one way to put
Yeah,
it.
it made me think a little bit differently.
Well, I think my biggest takeaway was just like, and we've talked about this a lot, just like liability concerns and stuff like that. But having another company like ours stand on stage and talk about what it was like to be part of a class action lawsuit that they shouldn't have been a part of was crazy. Right?
I feel like we should explain why that happened, though, because it couldn't just be on our side. It sounds like anybody can be named regardless of doing the right thing.
Yeah, we found out that lawyers will use any kind of language they can to get somebody slapped into a class action. And once the judge says you're part of it, you're part of it. There's no do-over. There's no going back from that.
No. So
I think from my side, like that was a takeaway, but like really, as much liability as people want to put on us as being providers, the liability really does reside with the customer. I mean, we can be, obviously we can be sued for whatever because that's just the way the United States works. But it's kind of weird how the relationship that we have to have with our customers is starting to get to where we like if we make a recommendation and they don't want to do it, we have to have them sign off on that they're accepting the risk.
Yep. Well, and it's not that we don't trust our customers. I mean, my customers would say, no, we wouldn't sue you if something happens. Guess what? Their insurance would, with a smile.
Yeah.
Same note. One of the big takeaway there from my perspective was, we've always been talking about, businesses that need to be compliant with this regulation or that regulation, even PCI or HIPAA or pick one. It doesn't matter. The business owners are like, well, I don't need to worry about compliance because there are no compliance police. But what we're seeing now is what Chris was learning. What we're seeing is the fact that the law firms are going after companies that had a data breach and quoting FTC regular standard FTC business practices of not protecting customer information. They're not quoting any specific cyber requirements. This is what did you do as a business owner to really protect yourself? And do you have a plan should something happen?
And on top of that, they're still looking at regulation though and pointing it out. So it's not the government coming after you. Like HIPAA, like if you're medical and HIPAA, they're pointing straight to the HIPAA language in a lawsuit.
Right.
So it's not the government necessarily doing the enforcement like they should be. It's the lawyers doing the enforcement in court.
Well, and I'm sure we've all experienced folks saying, well, a lot of the government's downsizing, the FTC will never go after me, this organization will never go after me, but it's not the government you have to be afraid of in this case. It's true. They're probably not going to chase you down unless you're a bigger fish. It's the other companies you work with and them suing you, or your insurance saying, oh, well, guess what? You didn't follow this regulation and our policy said you had to, so you're not going to get jack shit.
Yep. Your policies.
It used to be a lot of times people were like, business owners are like, oh, I'm too small to care. No, and we've been telling people that they're just too small. They're not too small to be breached. They're just too small to make the news. But now, with all the reporting requirements, we saw that a local law firm here, when they sent out their breach notices, it was answered with a class action suit.
Yeah.
So-
When you
Well,
get Googled, you want your reviews in your business site to show up, not all the news articles about not doing something right.
If you pick somebody that had to send out a breach notification letter right now, it doesn't matter who it is. My CPA was hit with this. My wife had surgery at a surgical center. They were hit with it, and this happened within like 3 months of each other. If you go to Google and you type their name in and you type lawsuit, there are literally lawyers looking to do class action lawsuits against them,
Mhm.
trying to set up class actions. So if you think that you're just going to escape the liability aspect, you think the insurance is going to pay for it, maybe they do. But is the insurance paying for a lawsuit or a class action? Is the reputation damage too much for your business? If you're huge, probably not. If you're not huge, probably.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, look, let's be real. If you're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate and you make the news because you had a data breach, like Marriott, right? Marriott's a good example. They paid out how many fines and stuff like that. Are you going to stop staying at Marriott?
Nope.
No.
How many choices do you really have in this world, right? So, but if you own a small hotel chain in northern Michigan and you have a data breach that exposes your customers, what are the chances that they're going to keep doing business with you? They might find somebody else.
Mhm.
So the risk isn't necessarily the insurance not paying. The risk is can your business survive it from a reputation standpoint? But I also feel like people are getting kind of numb.
I mean, beyond the reputation, what we saw last week was businesses need to prove that they took steps to protect themselves. Doesn't say that it had, it did the stuff we saw didn't say that it had to work, but did they make an effort, and can they document that? And because one of the things they said last week was, in a breach, these companies are no longer the victim; they're now the defendant. They have to prove that they did the right stuff.
Well, I thought, I just want to reiterate what you just said, and the lawyer said right on the stage, didn't have to be perfect, just had to show some kind of progress on moving towards security. But the biggest thing was having it documented, because if it wasn't documented, it never happened. It doesn't matter. It's not going to help you. So there needs to be some process and some method and some basically paperwork. I mean, I know we all hate paperwork as business owners, but this is the big one now. You got to file taxes, and now you got to document that you're at least moving towards doing the right thing for whatever industry you're in.
Yeah.
That's taxes and security. There's three things that are sure in life now.
And the realization for us is it complicates relationships.
It does.
Right. Like it creates
because it's an uncomfortable conversation to say, I made this recommendation for you to be okay. You didn't accept it. I need you to sign this to say that you turned it down. Let's at least acknowledge we asked you to do something and you didn't. Because honestly, we don't want to be held liable either. It's very uncomfortable, but it's reality now.
Yeah. So
if you go to the hospital and you're denying something or accepting something, you got to sign either way constantly. So that, if you look at what happens there is they're constantly documenting everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think our message really here is, if business owners are using internal IT, external IT, or an MSP, and they don't have the documentation in place, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of documentation do you have for your business today that shows you're really taking steps to protect yourself? I'm not even talking about HIPAA regulations at this point. I'm saying, what are you doing? Do you have an incident response plan? Do you know who to call? Where's that data stored? In a ransomware event, assuming that everything that they have is encrypted, and they're storing their incident response plan on their own SharePoint site, can they even get to it?
Mm-hmm.
So
not only that, what if it's not ransomware? What if just somebody deleted it and nobody paid attention to it? Right? You should have a printed version of it.
Yep.
The days of IT being simple in IT are kind of over.
Long gone.
Yeah. Especially if you have consumer data. If you have consumer data, there's nowhere to hide anymore. Like, 50 states have data protection laws. They have data breach notification laws. Certain states have stricter laws, obviously California, New York, and there's a lot of other states that are enacting stricter laws. You have to take that into consideration. It's part of doing business, unfortunately. And then for us, we just have to have stricter relationships with customers. It seems so informal. It sucks, but obviously we have our own liability to be concerned about, as well as our
You mean
customers have
informal or
liability for themselves. Impersonal, sorry, yeah. I can be plenty informal, but yeah, impersonal. Yeah, it just seems, I don't know. It sucks because you like have good relationships with people, and you know that people that you're doing business with probably won't sue you. But again, like Matt said earlier, insurance companies don't care.
Here's the thing: the business owner might not be suing you in the data breach. It could come down to the insurance company, because they might have paid a claim and now they're looking to get their money back. So they're going to touch everybody.
Or if it's not the insurance company, I mean, look, the guy that we saw on stage, it wasn't the insurance company that tagged him in it was a class action lawsuit.
Right.
So it wasn't even the insurance company bringing him into it. It was his insurance company helping him protect his, helping him in the lawsuit.
And unfortunately, the lawyers will touch anybody that will go after anybody that's touched any part of the environment, which we've seen in the past. I mean, I even worked for a pool company. When I was in high school, I was working for a pool company, and they got called into lawsuits because they made the stairs of a pool, yet somebody broke their neck diving into the pool. It had nothing to do with the stairs, but they got named in the lawsuit because they were part of the installation. So it doesn't matter, like they said on stage, you can sue anybody for anything, regardless of what the contract paperwork says. Yeah. You still need to defend it. So that's the thing, really looking to go, let's go back to, we're now, Matt, Chris, and I are looking at putting some programs together to help businesses really document and have the evidence that things are happening and things are going on. And we don't have to be your IT company to help you with this. We're calling cyber liability essentials, but it's a way to really document that you have a process in place and get you started, and also make sure that you've got training in place.
I'll take it further. If you're an MSP that just doesn't want to play in this world of documentation, we can help with that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The fun stuff in this world.
Good, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Good, exciting stuff. But it's things people need to do, and like Chris said, it's a different world.
Constantly changing, and that's the only thing that's constant in our world is change. So kind of got used to it. But
anyway, if you're connected with us on any of the social networks, reach out. We can definitely talk to you more about what's required or what we're recommending people have in place to have some evidence in place when bad things happen, because unfortunately, bad things happen.
Yeah. And if you want recommendations where to go to Nashville, don't ask us. We didn't go downtown. So we have some recommendations, but stay safe out there. Obviously document, and
see you next week.
Yeah. I love Matt's whiteboard, by the way.
What's that?
I love Matt's whiteboard.
Well, they wrote it in summer, and I can't use it anymore because when I try to erase it or even use like dry erase cleaner, it's just permanent now. I love you dads are all permanent now, I think. So
they didn't use whiteboard markers.
They did, but it's been on so long.
Later, guys.
Maybe they didn't.
Dude, that sucks.
Some of that might be Sharpie. Good point.
It might be Sharpie, because usually if you use soap and water or something, you can get it off. So if it's not coming off, it's